Today we're going to talk about why you might not be setting your wrists in your backswing and why that might be causing you some issues. So if we do not hinge our wrists in our backswing, it's going to cause our body to tilt back and forth a lot in an effort to get the golf club more up in the air, and it's going to also be trying to help us get back to that golf ball without the use of those wrists. And so when we tilt like that too much, our head is moving off center quite a bit, and it's going to be very challenging to return the club back to where it started, to hit the ground consistently. So you might find that you chunk the ball, that you top it a lot. You also are going to lack club head speed. That wrist hinge in our golf swing is what helps us generate a lot of club head speed as well. So definitely essential that we do that properly. The first thing I want you to check if you have trouble with this is your grip. If you are gripping the club too much in the lifeline or the palm of your hand, it's going to be really hard for you to get your wrist to hinge in your golf swing. That's why when we putt, we grip it a little bit more in the palms of our hands because that does limit some of that wrist action. So in your full swing, if this is happening, go ahead and make sure that we are gripping it more in the fingers of that left hand first. So I like to hold the club just parallel to my toes, grip it in my fingers. It's a little bit easier to do it this way before we have the club on the ground. So I'm getting those left hand fingers around the club, and then my thumb is just pinching up into my hand a little bit, and then my right hand is gonna match. So I've got it in my fingers so that I'm making sure I can hinge that club up and down. You should be able to do this very easily if your hands are on the club properly. So that is step number one. Number two, if you are a newer golfer, I see this a lot, and you are trying very hard to keep your arms straight during your golf swing, you might have trouble hinging your wrists. So what I see is, in an effort to really keep those arms straight, we get them locked out at setup. So if you see me from the side here, my wrists are almost this way, thumbs down, which will lock out your wrists and not allow them to hinge, because when we hinge, they have to go this way or this way to some extent. And so we get really, really tall with our hands and arms like this, and it's almost impossible for those wrists to hinge. And so you can see if I tried to swing like that, A, it hurts my back, but B, notice how much tilting I have to do in order to get the club up and down. So what I want you to do is not worry so much about keeping those arms super straight, but instead learn how to hinge your wrists up and down. So even just go ahead and set up and do this a couple times in front of you. I'm not lifting my upper body up and down to do this. I'm simply hinging my wrist to lift the club up. That's all that needs to happen as we turn in our backswing, is our wrists are just doing this. So even just standing in place and doing this a few times, and then maybe add in a turn and try and have that same feeling, and that will help you get those wrists more to the sky. But allow your arms to be a little bit softer as you swing, and as long as your chest is moving with you, your arms will stay relatively long, unless you've got an injury or a limitation of some kind. You will notice your arms collapse in a lot if we don't turn our chest. So again, just as long as that chest is turning and we are getting our wrists hinging, you will be in good shape. Now, how do we know if we're doing too much wrist hinge, not enough wrist hinge, or just the right amount? What I love to teach newer golfers, if I was teaching someone from scratch, is the easiest thing to think about is if I took a golf tee and I stick it in the end of my club here. When I get to the top of that backswing, I want you to have the butt end of the club or that tee pointing in line with our target here. Okay, so if I move my golf ball this way, my target line is where my golf ball sits at the top of that backswing. The tee should be in line with the target line or pointed along your target line there. That's a good goal for you. An easy cue that you can use to accomplish that is feeling like your thumbs point up to the sky and slightly behind you. And so what I will see a lot, again, if we don't use those wrists, our thumbs or the club kind of point out and away from us. They might point too much straight up to the sky or too far behind us. And so getting the club the end of the club to that target line is a really nice, easy goal. But an easy cue is sort of thinking about where it feels your thumbs are pointing at the top of that backswing. Now, a couple of drills that you can use to accomplish what I'm asking you to do here to help you stay more centered, create more club head speed, make better ground contact are these couple of drills. So the first one, you're going to go ahead and set up, place the club on your shoulder. So if you see me from the side here, I'm not lifting up to place the club on my shoulder, getting in my posture here, just folding my arms and putting the club on my shoulder, okay? I'm turning away from the target as far as my chest feels like it can go. And from here, I'm reaching my hands out and away from me. So if you see me do it from the front side, notice how that nice wrist set sort of naturally happens, but my arms are nice and long and I've turned my chest. So we're checking off all of our boxes that I was talking about earlier to make sure we are getting into a great backswing position. So you can actually do this as a drill and hit some golf balls where you go 1, 2, 3, hit. So that is drill number 1. Drill number 2, you're going to set up to the golf ball, hinge the club up in front of you like we worked on earlier, swing back and hit from there. So that would look like this. 1, 2, 3. So that's option number 2. Option number 3, we are going to hinge the club to be parallel to our toe line. When you do this, just be careful of the club face. We don't want it really open or super shut. It should match your spine angle, so it's a little bit tipped over. So we're gonna go 1, 2, hit. So that would be your third option for these drills that you can use to work on creating better wrist hinge, more club head speed, a more centered pivot, and just more consistency in your swing. So if you're someone who struggles with this, I want you to check your grip and then try one of these drills and just reorganize the concepts in your head to make yourself be able to hit better shots and perform better on the golf course. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe below. There will be more to come.